Experience. This is Coriel Kramer. I am a metaphysical expert for animals and people. Shorter version of saying animal communicator, psychic, seer, medium, healer, all around uplifting, positive, as much as I can person. And so metaphysical expert or metaphysical consultant fits better on the business card. And I'm here with the Animal Experience, which is a weekly show where I share my experiences talking to the animals with you. What I've learned, their insights, their thoughts, their wisdom, their all-around amazingness, because until a few years ago, what I used to say is practically everything that I learned about metaphysical world and about a lot about life in general came from talking to the animals. So I am pleased as punch to be able to bring their wisdom, their insights, their thoughts to you. And today is episode 38. And it is called, I'm calling it, What's in a Name? Everything. So let's get to it. So what I want to start off with is that the reason that I did this episode is, and I also wrote a post about it, which I will post on my Facebook page at the end. I wrote a post about it a few years ago on my blog, and it was very, very interesting. So also, just ahead of time, there is some groundwork, she says, as the groundwork goes on. There is some groundwork going on. I am trying to, send out energy so it's nice and quiet, but they're cutting down or trimming some trees. So if you hear that in the background, I apologize ahead of time. Hi, Serena. And hi to Deeks. Okay, so this is episode 38. What's in a name? Shakespeare wrote, and I quote, "What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would still smell as sweet." Well, what I would like to say is that names have incredible power. They can be a symbol for the kind of relationship you'll have with your animal, and for the rest of your life and for the rest of theirs as well. Cheryl says the live feed is not coming in. Do you see me at all? Serena, do you see me? Let me know. If anybody's having a problem seeing me, let me know. Okay. So let me go back to what I was saying before. Shakespeare said that famous line, wrote that famous line, "What's in a name? A rose by any other name would still smell as sweet." Well, names have power, okay? Names are important. It can show you, thank you, Laura. It can show you what it's all about in terms of your relationship and your relationship now and then with your animal. It defines your relationship with them and then with you. So why are names so important? And what, if anything, can occur when the wrong name is chosen? All right? And that's what we're going to discuss. So let's find out. Upper center surrounded by bees. Thank you. I'm working on a background. So this is the new background that I designed for the Animal Experience. So I hope you like it. Thank you very much for letting me know you can see me, everybody. I appreciate it. So let's find out. Okay, so number one, the first thing I want to start with is, why are names so important? Well, names are important because they define us. They define who we are, where we've come from in certain cultures. It defines our lineage in certain cultures. It defines where we've come from and where we're going in many cultures. Names are important because they have power. And we've talked about this, or I've talked about this, because I'm usually the only one until the end doing the talking. But I've talked about this, and we've discussed this in other episodes, where, words have power, and, and vibration. Every word you speak has got a vibration to it. It's got an energy to it. It's got a picture to it. And animals, again, I've discussed this, are telepathic, which is feelings or thoughts across a distance. It's sending out through your brain waves images, thoughts, and things like that there. Feelings, emotions. Words have emotions. Words have power. So do names. So if you are saying something, you are sending out not only an image of those things, that thing that you are saying, but you are also sending out feelings, emotions. You're sending out vibrations and energies. So a name, if you're saying somebody's name, even your own, and it's something that either feels right or doesn't feel right, you're sending that out too. So if you're calling somebody a butthead, but if you're calling somebody a butthead, you're sending that energy out. You're not sending out my love, or my sweetheart, or my buddy and my friend and my good friend, and you're sending out butthead energy and butthead images. Sorry, you're sending out images of butts and heads, butt heads. Okay, you're sending it out. So that's why words are important. All right. And again, remember, animals are telepathic. So you might be thinking that you're just saying this, but if you can slow your mind down and really get into the grips of what you're saying and becoming aware of what you're saying. Hi, everyone. You are going to become much more cognizant of what you're giving out to the universe. All right? So that's why names are so important. They define us. They tell us who we are, some cases where we come from, but also they have, some names in other languages mean things like strength or love or compassion or, connection to divine or something else like that there, and some have royal cognizant to it, like Harry or Diana, or goddess energy to it. So names, that's why they're important. Now, what has been my experience with the bad names? Well, it's been interesting. It's been very, very interesting. Okay. The first time I became aware of this was about 15 years ago now. I think it's about 16 years ago now. So a woman was calling me and she wanted to do a session because her animal was pooping all over the place. And she just got this cat, and he's pooping all over the place. And I was like, okay, I get it. So I connect to the animal, to find out, thinking, let's find out. Hopefully he's not sick. That was my first thought. I'm hoping he's not sick. I'm hoping he's not in pain. I'm hoping there's nothing wrong with him. So let's do a session. So I connected to him. And the first thing I heard was, I hate it. 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 And I was like, okay, do you hate the person? Do you hate the place you're staying at? Do you hate yourself? Do you hate your life? What do you hate? And he says, the name is just wrong. It's not my name. And I said, okay. And now I didn't, the woman consequently, there are no coincidences. When the woman contacted me, she just referred to her cat as her cat. So she didn't tell me his name. So I said, well, your cat hates his name. And she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So, and then I connect with him again, and I was like, well, why do you hate it? It just, the energy she's sending out every time she says it, it's making me crazy. It's making me crazy, and I'm trying to not be who she believes my name to be. I was like, okay. So, okay, of course my next question to the woman was, what's your cat's name? Oh, his name's Poopers. Okay. I said, well, why are you calling him Poopers? And she's like, well, that's a name that, it's, I can't remember what she said. I wrote this so long ago. Hang on. No, she said it was because when she saw him in the, she thought it was a cute name, number one. And when she saw him at the shelter, there was like little poops all around him, but it wasn't his poop. Okay. So she was like, oh, Poopers. He's cute. It's a cute name, Poopers. He hated the name. And every single time she said his name, Poopers, 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 she's remembering that time when he's surrounded by poop. So then he becomes what she's calling him. I've had other times where a person called me up for her dog, and her dog was very aggressive. The aggression had started since he was a puppy, and it had slowly and slowly and slowly be building till he was about 5 years old. So I connected to her, and I connected to the dog, and I found out that the dog he's like, well, I am what she's calling me. I'm trying to be what she's calling me. I'm trying to please my person. So I'm trying to be what she's calling me. So I asked the woman, I said, I'm sorry, what's your dog's name? And she says his name is Satan. Okay. Why did you call your dog Satan? It's a strong name. I wanted him to be strong. Okay. I get that. I see that. I get it. I see it. Okay. But do you see a correlation between what's going on? He's been like this since he was a pup. And I understand. I checked and made sure it wasn't anything medical. It wasn't anything behavioral. Or emotional. It was more that he was trying to please his person by being the picture that she kept sending him. And her intention when she sent this was for him to be strong, was for him to be a protector, was for him to be, aggressive. But what started happening was the aggression started turning inward towards the family. Well, I told the woman to change her cat's name to Pooper. He stopped pooping that same day. I told that woman to change her dog's name to Salvador, or something close to Satan. That's a nicer name. Like sincerity, or something else like that. There, and she actually changed his name to Samuel, and he stopped the aggression. It was like it was like he was a balloon, and a balloon popped and it got deflated. And he just became this loving, beautiful, wonderful, sweet dog. Now, coincidence? I don't believe in coincidences. Maybe you do, and that's fine. There have been several other times where there has been a correlation between the name and what was going on with the unwanted behavior. Names and unwanted behavior can go hand in hand. Just like a good relationship with a good name can go hand in hand, a bad relationship with a bad name can go hand in hand. Because, like I said just a moment ago, names, just like words, have power. Okay? So, that's what started to happen. I started to understand that the names were very, very important to the animals. Not only is it a bad name, but also the wrong name. And what I mean by that is there have been some animal communication sessions I've had where the dog or the cat or the animal itself themselves just say, this is not my name. My name is Walter, or my name is Boo Boo, or my name is Hello Kitty, or something else. And there's something going on, and it's the name that they were given in the shelter, and that's not their name. Some animals, which is very interesting to me, some souls, just like, I guess, humans, because I knew what my name was when I came in, but it wasn't the name that I was given. I had to change it to the name I was given, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But some souls know what their names are. And if they are called, if you're called something you're not, if I'm Coriel, but people call me Mary, I'm going to be like, stop calling me Mary. I'm not Mary. Okay. And then eventually I might have to slap somebody if they keep calling me Mary, because I'm not Mary. Hello, wake up. It's Coriel. It's not Mary. Okay. It's not my name. So it feels wrong. It doesn't feel like I'm living as I should. Some souls, some animals know their names when they come in and they tell me what it is. I tell their person, their relationship immediately gets better. It's incredible. It's really, really incredible and really, really beautiful how stuff like that can happen. So, yeah, it's been a really eye-opening for me, that kind of stuff. But then it made sense to me. You know, it really did. It made sense because of my own personal journey, which I'll mention in a little bit. But it made sense to me why it was so important to them. If it's important to me, why can't it be important to the animals? So, number 3, you can give an animal... Now, here's another interesting thing. You can give an animal a bad name. Okay? You can. But it's the intention when you say it that matters. That's where the power comes from. Like that woman was calling her dog Satan because she wanted him to be strong and powerful. Okay, but then that backfires on you. Okay? But if you call your animal Diablo, which is again another way of saying devil, Satan, and stuff. But if you call your animal Diablo, but Diablo to you sounds more beautiful. It sounds more exotic. It sounds more. It doesn't really associate with the devil. It's more associating with a strong Spanish culture or something else like that. There, if it feels like it's like, ooh, this is kind of nice because it's like it's a nice flowing Diablo. Diablo. It sounds nice, strong, but strong, not powerful, not protect. It sounds strong. Then great. But it's not going to work if Diablo is like, oh my God, it's the devil. It's not going to work because you're sending out that intention, that feeling, that emotion every single time. And imagine being slapped with a name every single time, and you are tweaked telepathically, okay? And you're tweaked empathically to that person, and they keep calling you a name, ass face. They keep calling you ass face, and you don't like it. It hurts when they say that to you. Same thing. When that woman called her cat Poopers, she wasn't saying, "Oh, it's a really cute name, and I think it's just sweet, and it's like Poppers, but it's Poopers because he's a sweet poopy." Okay, poopy is a nice way of saying somebody. Maybe to some people, it's a nice way of saying, "Oh, it's an endearment." I don't know. So it's interesting. If you call your animal butthead, but it's in a loving way, yeah, butthead. There are sometimes I call an animal knuckleheads, okay? But I always tell that person it's meant with love, because it's just, they're knuckleheads. They're just like, oh, I just love life, and but I mean it with love. So if I call an animal a knucklehead, it's meant, I send out the emotion of, oh, you big, crazy head, you funny dog, you knucklehead. I'm not saying that, you knucklehead. I'm not, it's the intention. Make sure the intention lines up with the name. Make sure that what you send out to your animal is the intention, when you say that name, is the intention of goodness and positivity, not negativity, not discordantness. Doesn't make sense. It's a little cuckoo, It makes sense because when you say your name, you want to feel good when you say your name. You want to express because it's who you are. It's what you do. It's where you are in your life and where you're going, So the intention with everything you do, not just the names and the words, but the intention is magic. If you can hone how to reel in and how to cast out your intentions, you are going to have such a magical life. It's incredible. But intention is what is the important thing. So that's what I wanted to say about that. It's the intention. You can still have the bad name, not the wrong name, but the bad name. It's the intention you put behind it that counts. So lastly, what I want to say is, my own personal experience is, I have 3 cats. I have Sammy, I have Sacred, and I have Ta'u. And aside from Sammy, who my mom named, because she told me she said that he gave her that, he gave her that name to call him. I named those other 2. And the reason that I call them the way that I do, I'll explain in a second. But I ask my animals what their names are. Every single time I have an animal, what's your name? Now, some know. Like Sammy knew, and he told my mom. Now, my mom wasn't an animal communicator, but she was close. She was open to that kind of stuff, and she loved Sammy dearly. So she said, he told me his name's Sammy. I was like, okay, his name's Sammy. There you go. So some do. Some know their names, some don't. But it's always nice to just ask. I mean, you're not going to go to a party and just assume on everybody's name. You're going to ask people, what's your name? Oh, my name's Bobby, my name's Timmy, my name's Frank, my name's Harry, my name's Linda, my name's Gigi, my name's whatever, Lucinda, Paula, whatever. It's like, you're not going to just say, oh, your name's Missy, and your name's, your name's Babette, and, so ask. That's one of the ways that you can just get quiet with the animal and just ask and see what they say to you, see what you get. It's also a lot of fun. Now, the reason that I call Sacred is because I asked her when I got her, what is your name? And she came with the name Sally. And I knew she wasn't a Sally, okay? There's no way this cat was a Sally. So I asked her what her name was. And she said, she told me, you're supposed to decide. I trust you. So the name Sacred, or the word sacred, came to my mind. And I realized immediately why, because the bond between a person and their animal is sacred. And every single time I say that name to her, well, aside from the times when she drives me crazy, but most of the times that I say the name, I say it with love. And I remember that bond between me and her, and between me and all my animals, is sacred. The one for Ta'u was, I asked him what his name is, and he told me it's lion, but it's not the typical name for lion. So I had to go look, and I Googled different names for lion. And of course, Simba came up. He's not a Simba. And lion came up, but there's not a lion. And then I looked in other places and under other dictionaries, Spanish, things like that. There, nothing fit. And then I went to Africa. And Ta'u is a I think it's southwestern African dialect for lion. And that was it. So that's why every single time I remind myself and I say he's a lion. Plus there was also stuff going on with us personally, and that's why I called him a lion. So that's the names. That's how I did it. But I always ask all my animals. I've done this since I was a kid. I remember doing this with my 6 hamsters. Now they were all called Pee-wee, but Pee-wee was a name that to me meant small but strong. I don't know why. It still does to me. It is, some people, think of Pee Wee Herman. Some people think of just like a really small, thin, being. You're such a Pee Wee. But to me, Pee Wee means small but strong. So, that's what I did. I've asked all my animals since I was a kid. It's always interesting. And maybe, something, maybe a lot of you out there have probably just called your animal because you just had this gut feeling. Go with that. Don't deny that. That is animal communication. You had a gut feeling on the name for your animal. That's beautiful. That's pure communication because you're getting out of your way because you don't care about the result. So you're just letting it in. Gut feelings are good. So the bottom line for me is this. Names have incredible power. They have a life and energy of their own. They can make or break a being. For me personally, and I told you I was going to talk about this, for me personally, Coriel was not the name I was born with. It was the name I was supposed to be born with. Okay? I was given another name. It never fit. I never felt comfortable with it. I didn't like writing it. I didn't like saying it. I didn't like spelling it out. I didn't like anything about it. It just felt wrong for the longest time until I officially changed my name. And I officially changed all 3 names. And I love it. And it was almost like when I took it officially and I saw that, because you got to make an announcement when you change your name. And I saw that official announcement in the newspaper. I was like, that's it. I'm here. It felt like I clicked in. So names have incredible power. And they can make or break a being. They can make or break a relationship with your animal. And, you have been given an honor. It's an honor, okay, to have the chance sometimes, again, if they don't know what their name is when they come in, but you've been given an honor to name them, and so it's about choosing wisely. It's about choosing honorably. And most importantly, choosing a name that feels right to you, because the majority of the times when they're not making you crazy, when you say that name, it feels right to you. And it feels right to you, it feels right to them. It's episode 28. Sorry, that's episode 38. What's in a name? Pretty much everything. So, I'm going to take your questions and your comments. I want to thank everybody again for joining. It's wonderful to see you all, and I appreciate you all. So, Paula Gregg says, it makes a lot of sense. Our name is the one thing that we own. Nicely put. I like that. Tracy says, okay, so me calling my ginger ninja dude is why he's being a monster to the other cats. I must change that name. How does the name feel to you when you say it, Tracy? That's what you have to ask yourself. Because slow your mind down. When you say, how does my name feel to me, how does the name feel to me when I say it? You are then slowing your mind down and seeing what images it pronounces and produces in your brain and what you're sending out. Okay? So maybe changing the name might help. Okay? But again, it's the intention and what you're setting out. Ninjas are not all bad. Ninjas are pretty cool, you know? I mean, when I think of a ninja, I think of stealth. I think of quiet. I think of zen. I think of, I don't really think of an assassin. I know they are assassins, but I think of more things ahead of that before that. Now, if the first thing you think of is an assassin, maybe it's not the right name. And a killer, maybe it's not the right name. Just saying. But thank you for sharing that. Tracy again says, I asked my fur kids what their names are. Toby and Elijah aren't any names I would have come up with. Trust a man to name his cat Dude. Well, it's the dude. It's the Big Lebowski. It's the dude factor. I don't know if you have that. Tracy lives in South Africa. South Africa. There you go. So I asked my fur kids. That's cute. Trust a man to call a cat Dude. Yeah, I know. They're interesting. Anyway. Truffle says, Paula says, Truffle says hello. She came back here as you were talking. Hi, Truffle. Paula's got awesome names for her cats. And what's also interesting is to keep kind of like a, keep it in a series almost. What Paula did is she uses all kinds of wonderful French desserts. I think it's French. Yes, beignet, truffle, and brulee. Yes. So French desserts. And that's cool. Because who doesn't like a good French dessert, But again, if it feels right to you, it feels right to you. If it doesn't feel right to you, don't. But have fun with it. Choose beautiful things. Keep a series. Keep your animals in a series of great artists. Picasso, Monet, Vermeer, things like that there, because that exudes out beauty as well. Different foods. Again, you don't want to call your dog or your cat roast beef unless, because then you're thinking of eating. It gets to be a mess. So just, have fun with it. That's what I'm just saying. Just have fun with it. So does anybody else have any questions or comments? I want to say hello to everybody. Hi, Laura. Thank you for saying that you see me. Dawn White. Hello. Sherry, hi, and yeah, so that is episode 38. If anybody's got any other questions or comments, write them out. If I don't see them, I promise you that I will see them and answer them at the end of the show. Valerie, hang on now, we got something else coming on. Valerie says, my friends can tell you I've driven them crazy picking my dog's names. Katie picked hers. She was going to be a Harper. On the way home, I kept saying names to her. When I said Katie, she looked right at me. She is named after my grandmother, grandfather, and Kate Hepburn. Loved Kate Hepburn. Oh my gosh, she's my favorite actress. She was awesome. She was kick-ass. Nice! So now you got 3. You got a trifecta. My grandmother, my grandfather, your grandmother, and Kate Hepburn. Every single time you say Katie. Strong, powerful name. I love that. Thank you for sharing that, Valerie. That was awesome. And say hello to the fur kids for me. Dawn said, my internet is slow here. I have to watch later. More. Okay, with Alexi. Yes, bye. Thank you. Tracy says, my husband is having a good laugh. I think Zen suits him. I really love this episode. Thank you. You're welcome. Zen. Ooh, I like that name. Zen. Yeah, that's a good name. That's a good name. I like it. All right. So thank you everyone for joining the Animal Experience. A few announcements. I've announced this over the last couple of episodes, but I'm going to do it again. I'm starting reviews on pet products. I have a lot of them in the works, including I'm just talking to a raw food company this week where they want me to review some of their stuff for their raw stuff for animals. So I'm thrilled and excited about that. And there's other things that right now currently are in the review tunnel, so to speak. You know, I'm giving my cats a chance to get used to it. But the reviews that I've written so far are actually the review of the Pet Safe Seascape Fountain has been really fun, and it's been very much supported, and thank you very much. And if you're interested in reading it, you can find that on my blog and my website. So that's really interesting because I'm writing from my perspective first and then from the animals, my cats' perspectives, and they have some interesting perspectives on a lot of stuff. So that's what I wanted to say on that. And then also I am planning a trip back east, going back east, and that's going to be in the fall. So if you're interested in talking to me about possibly doing an in-person, either psychic party, pet party, psychic reading, or an animal communication, you can find me on Facebook, you can PM me, or you can email me at mail@corielkramer.com. If you're interested in a session or reading, you can go to my website, which is corielkramer.com. And until next week, I want to wish you and your animals a week of wonderful, amazing, beautiful experiences with one another. Take care.